Hello and welcome to another daily market reading in which we're going to be looking at the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum and potentially USDT dominance. First things first, I'm on Bitcoin and I wanted to start off on the daily time frame because I think we're getting some quite good information. First things first. The most important thing is, well, just to give a bit of a bigger picture, it's not random that the price stopped off there. That was, if you remember, that was quite a key level. Ever since then, we have been getting quite a nice rejection back down. Okay, now on the daily time frame, there's a few things that I personally want to trace out that I think are quite key levels. First off, this previous high, if I trace a box around it and extend it towards the right, we can see that it's also going to cover this resistance. Hold on, I've got this and it's getting on my nerves. I'm gonna delete it. There we go. So we came, reacted, we broke it, we faked out a bit, and then it served us as a support. Okay, now this was quite a key level before, but I want to show you how it's not just a key level, it's also where exactly the value area high ends. Why is it important that the value area high ends there? Well, if you know how a fixed range volume profile works, this between the value area low, which is this line there, and the value area high, which is this line there, this is roughly where 70% of trading is going on. When you go out of the value area, it means that the market makers have some sort of reason to make the price go bullish. If you go back inside, it means that you are likely to go back and trade within the value area high and the value area low. Okay, so, and then, you know, it's the exact same thing down. We are fine with breaking out down as long as we go back in straight. If we break out like we've done here, we retest and we don't go back in and we carry on going out, that means that we can carry on being bullish. Okay, and the same thing if we break out down. But because now we're coming straight crashing down on these previous lows. Okay, so on this previous low, which we will look at on a different time frame because it's easier to see, but it's also going to be where the value area high is. Now, I don't really think the price of Bitcoin is just going to slice right through it. Don't really think that's, I mean, it can happen, don't get me wrong, I'm not a wizard, I'm not going to read the future, but it would make sense for us to get some sort of reaction. Okay, up until where this area looks all right to me. Okay, and I've even got an area just below it that I'm going to talk to you about in this video. But first things first, I just wanted to let you know that I am waiting for the price of Bitcoin at more or less 75,000. Okay, let's go down a time frame and then we can see some more stuff. We can get some more information. I can take away this box now because I've said what I wanted to say. And I think I've also said, look, just for your memory, the value area high is going exactly where this wick ended. Okay, so delete this as well so that it's nice and clean. So we were making highs, lows, higher lows, higher high, and then now we could be going over to test the previous low. Okay, that's on the 8-hour time frame. So a move all the way down here testing these previous lows would make total sense for me. It would be quite a reasonable thing for the price of Bitcoin to do, is it would be coming over to test the previous lows. Okay, so nothing out of this world. It is also, if I do this, you know, there was some liquidity there. Okay, so it would make sense for us to go grab it really quickly. I'm now going to turn on our oscillator. It's going to make things a lot easier for me, and I'm actually going to go back to the daily time frame just to mention really quickly how we still got not the crazy amount of room. Okay, not a crazy amount of room, but we do still have a little bit of room for the price to drop down and be even more oversold, for the price to drop down and go at our price range around there. Okay, that's what my point of view is. So having said that, let's go down to the 4-hour time frame and see what we can see. Okay, I'm also now going to turn on our indicators, which you can, by the way, get for free. Okay, I've said this in quite a few videos. I'm going to turn on the signals and order blocks, which are going to tell me where the order blocks are, and the smart trend, which is this green line. Okay, as we can see, the smart trend on the 15 minutes and on the 1 hour time frame has changed to red, which means that we should be prioritizing short positions. And then now here as well on the 4 hour time frame, it is green, but we need to be careful, okay, for the reasons that I've just given you. Another thing worth noting as well, right, is exactly on this price point, which is where the value area high is, where we've got these recent lows. It is also where we have an order block. Okay, an order block is not something to fuck about with. It is something, sorry, it is something quite relevant. Okay, even on the 8 hour time frame, we have also got an order block just below it. So this 8 hour time frame is actually something I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on, rather than actually the 4 hour time frame one. Why? Because this 4 hour order block is going to come just below the recent low. So that means that it would give some room to the price to go below it, grab some liquidity, and then we could potentially get a move back up. This would be something that I would look for in the daily time frame. So does this mean I'm then waiting for the price of Bitcoin to give us a crazy move up? No, that's not my point of view. Okay, I'm not able to trace a Fibonacci retracement now because I think there's still a bit of room for us to go down. Okay, so I'm going to trace a Fibonacci retracement maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, and once we've got a bit more of an update on the price. Until then, what interesting points can we look at? Well, we've got one, which is on the BTC dominance. We have got, if I go on the daily time frame, we've left a gap between 79,200 and 78,300. I'm going to go ahead and trace that right here. I'm going to trace on the 4 hour time frame. 79,200, which is around there. 79,200 to 78,300, which is something like this. We have got, okay, now it's looking a little bit messy, and I do apologize for that, but I think if I label it, it's going to be even more clear to see. CME, maybe in capitals, CME, if I can type, there we go. Right, so we've got a CME gap sitting along very nicely there. Okay, so would it make sense for us to get a move up once we clear this recent low and then go up? Potentially, yes, because most CME gaps get cleared off. Okay, so also, don't know if you can see, it is also where we have a strong fair value gap, a strong gap on the 4 hour time frame. So it would make sense for us to go and retest this gap, which would also be sitting in the CME gap. Okay, that's my point of view, that's my reading. Now a bit more short term, we can have a look on here. I'm going to delete this now because I've finished explaining this, and I'm going to take away. Right, so we were moving around here, we were basically going sideways, we weren't doing much. This was during the weekend, and essentially what the price of Bitcoin has done was go from one channel, break it, to go into a new channel. Okay, today has been absolutely disastrous. We have not had any moves. The price has basically just been staying sideways, doing a bunch of nothing. But one thing that has been quite interesting is that on the hourly time frame, which is red, okay, which means that the smart trend is telling us that we should prioritize short positions. Fine. What can we see? We can see something quite interesting, that these were the previous lows, okay, from the previous channel that we created during the weekend, which is where I have traced this box that I've extended towards the right. We got a retest up, and then exactly where this line was, which is the exponential moving average, it has been a really nice place for us to attempt a short position. Okay, so I guess you could have scalped it if you really wanted to. You could have followed that kind of strategy, and also it is a sideways channel, so you sell the top by the bottom, you know, long, short, long, short, long, short. Okay, you could have done that on the 15-minute time frame, but I'm not going to bother of going into detail with that because it's not really relevant for this video. So quick recap, let's go back on the 4-hour time frame. Where am I waiting for Bitcoin? 75,000, 74,400. I'm going to draw you a really nice box. 75,000, which is there, to 74,500, which is there. Okay, delete this as well. And then I'm going to leave it like this. Ideal. It's an ideal long entry, or, okay, it is going to be a place where I'm going to be taking all of my profits from my short position. Okay, the short position which I was building around here. If you watch my previous videos, when the price of Bitcoin was around this price area, that's where I was saying there's a really high chance that we go down. That's where I started building my short positions. And then ever since, the price has been going down. I've already taken some of my profits, but I do think this looks like quite a nice area to try attempt a long position. But let's not get it wrong, this is quite a risky trade. Why? Because I would be trading against the trend. So I'm not going to deal with as much capital. It is quite risky. I'm not waiting for a millionaire move all the way up above 80,000. I'm going to wait for it around this area, and then every pull up that I get is going to be a nice place for me to go short, and it move up, short, and it move up, short. Okay, that's going to be my point of view, because I think the price of Bitcoin is now going to start a downtrend. It's now going to stop trending down. Ethereum next, we've got a very similar thing. I'm going to delete this so that you can see just how I trace it. It looks like as well we have lost, in my previous videos I was saying how this channel was a really nice proxy for me when it came to asset analysis. We lost it, fine, cool. And we have also lost this gray line, which was an exponential moving average, which was serving as a really nice support until we lost it. Okay, so having said that, let's trace a fixed range volume profile from this whole thing, and we can see how we've just gone literally straight through the value area high. It did serve as a bit of a reaction zone, which was really cool, which was really good. Reaction, and then we broke it. We're going straight in, and keyword, I'm going to go on the 8-hour time frame so that I can show you exactly what I want to show you. We can see how, hold on, this is getting really messy, and I don't want to, there we go, this looking a bit cleaner. We can see how the POC, which is the point of control, which is this yellow line, is the point where there's the highest amount of volume in this whole value area, is sitting exactly where we have an 8-hour order block. So very similar reading when it comes to Ethereum. I think we could get a final push down to this point right there, which is around 2060. That's where I think the price of Ethereum is gonna go. Do I know if exactly we're gonna stop at 2060 or 2008? No, I'm not a wizard. I don't exactly know the exact dollar that is going to stop at. Okay, what I do know is that this is likely going to be a high reaction zone. That's my point of view. Okay, really similar reading. It's also worth noting we've got really high money flow. What does money flow tell you? Money flow tells you that there's been a lot of money going out of the market during this move down. When you get such big money flow, it usually means there's a bit more room for a bigger move, okay, which means that the move is not fully finished yet. Let's look at an example. For example, here we had a lot of money flow, and we did get this move up, but it wasn't quite finished yet. We got a bit more of a move up, and then we got a move down. Okay, when you get small money flow like this one and you're oversold, it's quite a good place for us to try a long position. But when you get big money flow like we've got here, That's really fat money flow. That is, you know, just an indication that the price could very easily carry on falling down. Is it today? I don't know. Is it tomorrow? I don't know. What it does look like is that we could get a bit more of a move down. Okay, turn this off, take this off, and yeah, exactly the same sort of reading. A thing that is not the best news for Ethereum either is on the 4-hour time frame. The oscillator was oversold. We were owed a move up, did not get a move up. Well, it has been going up and up and up and up. The price of Ethereum has actually dropped and has been basically going sideways. If I go on the 2-hour time frame, we can see the exact same story as with Bitcoin. I'm going to delete this, and I'm also going to delete this because it's useless. We can see the exact same thing during the weekend. We were going in this channel, and then we broke it, and then we were testing the bottom side of this channel, and we've basically been doing the exact same thing. Okay, you could have scalped it. Today has been quite a scalp heavy day. You could have done some stuff on the 15-minute time frame, I guess, if you really wanted to, which is kind of what I've been doing, what I've been trading like, but not a crazy amount of volatility. Okay, having said that, that's my reading for Ethereum, that's my reading for Bitcoin. And also really quickly, we're going to look at the CME futures on Ethereum, and we can see how we have just gone. Well, first off, we had a gap here which we've left alongside with Bitcoin. And then also we had a gap as well. I don't know why I've made it so big right there, which we have cleared. We have recently just cleared a gap that we left on the 8th of April. Okay, so we left it over a month ago. The price of Ethereum has gone all the way up, done all of this stuff, and has just gone to close this gap. Okay, so very similar thing as Bitcoin. We could get a little bit more of a push down just to go back up. Okay, finally we have got USDT dominance. I am aware this is a bit of a longer video. I do apologize, but if there are things to talk about, I do want to mention them. When there's not much to say, the market is not doing nothing or is the same as the previous video, I'm not going to make a longer video, but today we do have quite a few things to talk about. I'm going to trace Fibonacci retracement from this whole impulsive phase down. We can see a very similar reading. We've got a bit more room on the oscillator to go up, which means that we could go test these previous levels, which were also previous pivot points around there, and there. So this whole area looks quite interesting for USDT. If you don't know how this works, USDT goes up, price of crypto goes down. Okay, so this is basically confirming the things that I've been saying to you about Bitcoin and about Ethereum. Okay, so that's my reading for the market. I thank you very much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and then also make sure to leave a comment if you've got any questions, any doubts, any issues. That's what I'm also here for. I am here to help you out. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on tomorrow's daily market reading.